race of spring feels like it's coming to a close. It's not that summer becomes any less busy. It's just no longer a busy spring. It's just busy summer, and you roll straight into it. So it's very easy to find yourself behind on deer stuff this time of year. Your mind gets into turkey mode entirely, and it's not that I was ready to give up turkeys just yet, and Nick is actually going to be on his way to a state that I would have loved to join him in this weekend. However, I don't do a lot of spring plots, but I do some, and if you stay in turkey mode, you can very easily find yourself behind, neglecting the deer stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And usually those things with the spring plots takes a lot of coordination as far as ordering seed, spraying plots, getting seed in the ground, and you find yourself behind before you know it. So I came down last weekend, got the plot sprayed. Ideally I'd give them 2 weeks to kind of die off. However, I don't have that kind of time. So I am going to be planting hopefully either tonight or tomorrow morning, getting seed in the ground. Gonna get on the tractor here as soon as I get down here, start disking things up. I've already disked them once, and that was probably a month or so ago, and then sprayed them last weekend. So ground shouldn't be too hard, and we got rain coming for sure, probably Sunday, Monday, maybe Saturday, tomorrow, but we do have a long weekend, but I just don't have the time to get down here later in the weekend, and the rain kind of screwed me even if I could. So should be on the tractor here within that, probably an hour and a half. Got one more stop to make on the way to pick up some fertilizer and possibly some more herbicide for later in the summer. So we should be on the tractor here in a bit. All right, made it up here to the main plot on the farm. My allergies are already fired up. I did want to mention, for those of you who may have saw the bush hog on the back of here, I know some people get real fired up about mowing this time of year, and I am in full support of not mowing pretty much all of May and most of June, even until those fawns are able to get up and at least get away from you on the tractor if you're mowing. But as well as turkey poults. Obviously the poults sometimes hunker down, as well as hens that are on nests. So I'm not mowing today. I use that as kind of like a counterweight on the back of the mower, or the back of the tractor rather, for coming up some of these hills. So that's what that's all about. But you can see this strip behind me that's for the most part dead. Came in and sprayed this, and it looks like for the most part it's dying. The other plot that I sprayed that we'll go to next is not as dead. I would say we had some segregation issues with the glyphosate in the tank. I would assume that a lot of it sunk straight to the bottom, and I wasn't able to get it mixed up quite as well as I wish it would have. So I think we had some spots that maybe didn't receive as much spray as I wanted to. However, I think most of the plants are in the process of dying, and although I would have liked to waited probably 2 weeks for that Roundup to work, I would say from what I've read, after 48 hours roughly, that plant has absorbed enough of it that the herbicide is down in the roots, and it's basically in the process of dying and it's fully made contact with the entire plant. Obviously that might differ depending on what plant you're looking at and the size of plant, but I would say for what I'm spraying, most of it should be dead, so not real concerned about that. If you didn't wait long enough for the whole plant to absorb that chemical, I guess the risk would be going in and disking and planting on top of a live root that's going to resprout. So I think we're safe there. Going to hook up to the disc now, which is back behind me, and re-disc this strip, which is the east side of the plot. And the reason for that is east of the plot out here there's a point, and a lot of deer in the past have bedded out there. I like that buffer, even if it doesn't get 6-7 foot tall. Just kind of gives some little buffer for the deer to have to come through, gives the plot some coverage so that those deer out there have to cross it to come out here and see what's going on. So that's the theory. I think it helped last year. Gives the blind some buffer too, which is back behind me. So we're gonna hook up here and start disking. Even when you've done something for so long that you don't feel like you should make stupid mistakes. I feel like I still make stupid mistakes. I'm not real thrilled. Obviously that's a bad spot, probably not reflective of what the rest looks like, but still not happy with the rest of this spot. I feel like the kill off that I got was not near what I wanted. And part of that is for sure due in part to coming in and spraying last week. I would also say that there was an issue with segregation, or I don't know what the proper term would be, of the herbicide in the solution just not being mixed evenly. So I'm hoping what I've disked up is already dying and not going to come back. I'm not real sure. The one in towards the blind looks real good, disked up real nice. The top link on that tractor is also not as long as I'd like, or it's seized up and I can't get it to extend as long as I'd like to get that disc to lay down properly to where both the front and back row is cutting. It pretty much sits kind of forward to where the front row cuts and the back row is like an inch off the ground. So not ideal. I tried to fix that. I might end up just having to get a top link that's a little bit longer to where it'll lay down properly. But I think this spot's prepped for the most part. I am going to grab my drag. I have a nice drag with tines on it that I'm going to try to level this out, kind of pack it down a little bit, and then seed this. I am going to probably go down and disc that other field first. That way both fields are disked, and then do the drag all at once and seed everything at once too. So I'd like to get everything disked up first with the tractor. That way I'm done with that, and then we'll worry about getting seed in the ground. But I'll turn you around here and kind of show you what we're looking at. so second spot out of 2 is done. This one is down in a river bottom. I knew this ground would probably be a little bit easier to work, and it was. Bigger area for sure, but we got this one done. So the blend that I'm planting is Real World Wildlife, the upland blend. So it's a mix, I think, like sorghum, millet, sunflowers, and I'm not really planting it as food. I don't really want it to be food. Obviously, deer will eat it. They love sunflowers. They'll also eat the sorghum and millet. However, in this spot, it's more of just for habitat in general, not necessarily specifically for deer. We do sometimes use this for access, so I don't want them bedding in here. I don't really want them feeding in here all the time. But as far as for turkeys and stuff, I mean, I kind of look at the bigger picture. If you only plant, you know, little kill plots and stuff that you're just going into to kill deer, I think you can do a lot more to help the habitat and all the species in general. I mean, obviously not everybody has the acreage to do that, so I understand that, and I understand why some people only plant, you know, the stuff that they're going to be able to kill deer over. Ideally, I would have had this planted a few weeks ago when turkeys were, you know, nesting, and then obviously poults are starting to hatch, because this blend that I'm planting in here provides really good brooding cover. Beneath all that, you know, all that growth would be a nice flat open area that the poults could walk around. I want to say it's like somewhere in the 14-day range that those poults have to spend on the ground before they're able to fly up the trees at night. So obviously that aerial coverage from where, you know, predators that are hunting from the sky would be seeing them, this blend would help them there. So that's kind of what this spot's for. It's not really for deer hunting or anything like that. And then up top where we were earlier, it's just kind of a buffer. I really wouldn't call it even a screen, because it doesn't get tall and thick enough to be a screen. Just kind of a buffer for that edge. So we're done here. Ranger's back there. We're gonna grab that. I got the fertilizer. There's a fly on me. Got the fertilizer in there. We're gonna go up and do that top one first. Drag it, fertilize it, seed it, come down here, and I don't know how much time we got, but maybe do the same. If not, we'll have to do it in the morning. So I'm gonna head that way. Alright, so went ahead and drug it. I have not put any fertilizer down yet. I did do a soil sample, I probably should mention, on this plot as well as the one down in the bottom. Both of them, pH-wise, are good, so we don't need any lime. They both called for fertilizer. This one I am putting fertilizer on, just because I really do want this buffer in here. The one in the bottom, it's more a habitat thing just because, so I'm not as concerned about that one. So I have some fertilizer for up here. Went ahead and drug it, and I have just a small pull behind spreader. So I kind of wanted this flattened out, compacted a little bit. I'll go ahead and put the fertilizer on, throw the seed on, and then probably drag it all one more good time just to kind of cover that seed up a little bit. And as far as this spot goes, we'll be good and we can head down to the bottom. So since I don't have a fancy 3-point spreader for the back of the tractor, you actually can't see it. I have a bag staged there, and then I have a bag sitting back there with the toe behind spreader. And ideally, I'd just pull it with the side-by-side. However, I kind of want to be able to make sure I'm getting uniform coverage and not just dumping it all in one spot. So I think I'm just going to pull it, which is kind of janky. However, I only have to put down 100 pounds of triple 19 and then 30 pounds of urea. So not too much to do by hand. I'm going to do it by hand. And then once we get that down, we'll put the seed on and drag it again. Don't do it that way. That was dumb. Alright. We're losing light quick. My battery's about dead on the camera, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's about to die. We're gonna get seed in the ground, which is my favorite part of all the fertilizing and seeding process goes. So we need 1/4 of the bag. This linear buffer, I guess, is 1/4 acre. So use 1/4 bag. Ugh. All right, this thing may die on me. Got it seeded, and I wanted to explain the rest of this plot. We got some apple trees back over my shoulder there. The rest of this plot is kind of like an hourglass shape. This is clover that I frost seeded in over the winter, I guess into spring. Came up really well. I've been trying to maintain it. I haven't mowed it or anything here lately just because of the fawns and stuff. And it's going to be coming out come fall anyhow. So here in probably a month or so, I'll come in, burn it down, and then this whole plot's going to go into brassicas. And this will be the first time that I've ever planted the whole field outside of, you know, just this buffer here in brassicas. It just seems like the past couple years, if I plant anything less than a 1/2 acre, the deer just have it destroyed before it ever amounts to anything anyhow. And last year we had quite a bit of a drought, which didn't help that case. So I'm trying to put this in bigger tonnage, I guess, bigger area, and give the deer enough food that they don't have it decimated before October. So that's the game plan. I'm gonna drag this real quick, and we're gonna head down and see if we can get anything done on that bottom field before dark. All right, well, we're wrapping up the last plot here, and this is the one that we disked last night. And as you can see, especially on this end, there's a little bit more thatch laying on top of the ground. And I'm hoping it's all in the process of dying, either by the chemical that I put on it or from disking it last night. I'm not really worrying about fertilizing this one, but I am going to go ahead and throw seed on it. We're going to drag it one more time, and then we're done for the weekend. And just like I started this video by mentioning, the busy days of summer will continue today. I have to get everything put up. It's 7:20 right now, and I wanted to be out of here by 8 o'clock, and that may or may not happen at this point. Probably won't happen at this point. Get everything put up, spray down the spreader that I use for the fertilizer, and then I got to get out of here. Got a little bit of a drive ahead of me. Came down last night, leaving at 8 o'clock this morning. Yeah, this is pretty much how things go these days. However, I feel pretty good about everything. There's, like I've mentioned a few times, there's more weeds in this spot than I had hoped for. But we'll update you guys on the growth of everything. I feel pretty good about that one up top. And this one just kind of more of an experiment. That's half the reason why I do this stuff. It's just fun to try different things, learn from other people, but at the same time, you know, don't be afraid of trying something on your own, because when you screw it up, just put that in the memory bank for the next season. And if you're like me, you know, or if you're not like me, you'd remember the next season. But feel pretty good about it. We got to get on the road.